Okay, so today I thought I'd talk a bit about closed species. And basically, a heads up and a few things I will say first up. I do not condone the harassment or and all that of people or anything else. Just to state that, okay? So, first up, my thoughts and also overall, basic things. My thoughts are that mostly closed species doesn't really work out in the long run, as most people are just going to copy them. I don't think it's a good idea at most. I have, you know, overall taken a look at it and kind of thrown it out there a bit to everyone. You've probably seen a poll that I did on my channel of what people think. And do they seem like NFTs? From what a few of my friends said, kind of, but kind of not. It's kind of a variation, and I don't really have a bad thing to really say in the long run, but yeah. Like, I'm not going to judge people for how much they price their art for, but then at the same time, it's kind of... yeah. But anyways, I don't really have a in particular, but I'm just going to, give an example. An example, not a, wild thing. So, for instance, primogens are a closed species. Not protogens, but primogens. Different different, but in the same... Blah, you get the point. At most, I really do think the idea of it is to try and protect their species and some sort of, but they don't really, in my opinion, they don't really take into context the thing that makes most sense, which is if you try to, make some sort of protection of your species by not letting people use them, people may end up just using them anyways, being the one thing that I've seen. The other thing is, well, this one's kind of a bit simple. They try to make it so it's like copyrighted or something, but then people just make changes to them in ways that make it parody or enough of a difference that it's no longer, theirs. Is this something that I consider kind of... Like, I don't really have anything bad personally about it. But, yeah. I do think that the idea of closed species does have some legitimacy. Like, towards trying to keep something finite or rare. But, at one point this was a legitimate way of keeping things, yeah. Back when people may have been a little bit more likely to follow this, maybe some other people, and for what most people have said to me, they don't really care too much about closed species. And honestly, to that, I understand. And I'm kind of on that page too. I just kind of thought they kind of look a bit like NFTs in a way. You pay a heap of money for something that you technically could just do yourself. Not saying that you should or you shouldn't. It's up to you. If you want to do this sort of thing where you make a personal closed species, your own personal one of a closed species, I'm not going to stop you, nor could I. Should you? I don't really know. I personally have done it myself just as a proof of concept, but nothing more than that. I'm not, trying to sell any art using anything like that. I'm just a person who just made that. Just as proof. No harm, foul, just that. As of the people that do go out and harass people for using closed species, just don't do that. Like, I'm fine with people going, oh, that's a closed species, you should probably not do that. Fair enough. Be nice. Be understanding that people will do this. Obviously, it's like if someone goes using someone else's art and so on for their own art. Obviously, I'm okay with someone tracing as long as they're just doing it for practice or for some sort of a personal thing. not for selling it or anything public-wise. That sort of thing I'm okay with, and I'm understanding of that. But if they're using it for, you know, to try and sell, then yeah, it's not a good thing to do. It's a no-no. I do think there is some legitimacy that is involved with it, with closed species to a certain degree. I know people who have them, who've made their own species. I have no real quarrels to them, and I really do think that there is a possibility of these things having some degree of trying to keep their species as their own. Perhaps it's for a book or for some sort of a game or something else. But that's about it. It may not stop everyone. It's kind of like the old Rule 34. If it's on the internet, it's going to be, well, of it. But you get the point. It's just part of the way things work on the internet, unfortunately. Yeah. I really just think that there is two sides of this, and both of them kind of, well, they have their arguments to the other. I don't think that they're both always correct. I think that sometimes there's sides to this that make sense. But I personally think that if it's a closed species, yeah, it ain't worth it in the long run. I just think that it's just something that, you know, people should keep in mind. If you don't want to have people bothering you for constantly wanting to use your species, it may be a thing. If you've made a personal species for just you and your friend, and you don't want it to get, you know, you don't want to get bothered and harassed for using your own closed species and everyone's ending up using it, it may be a wise idea not to share it with everyone. I understand a beautiful art, you like to share it around, but if you make closed species, it may end up being a thing where people will just, yeah. That's something you've got to be careful with. But if you are using it just for the sake of, if you made a species and it's, you know, if you have some sort of like lore to them and you want to keep that lore accurate, like, I understand that. That is something that means a lot to artists and to species they create. But I should say this in a way that's not going to be rude towards artists or anyone. Do expect people that they're going to go like, oh, I'm going to put a set of wings on this protogen. Or I'm going to put a bunny tail on a dragon or something silly like that. Do expect people to do stuff like that. Because, well, they're just trying to create their own thing, their own twist on it. I'll tell you this. This is a good way of looking at it. Have ones that are, so you can go, I want to make accurate, like canon accurate ones that are like, you know, this is accurate to what the artist originally designed. That's something you could say. So you can make one that's accurately, that is a legitimate one. And this is just a clone or something similar like that. Nothing to be rude, not a knockoff, but more or less just someone's made their own fan-made version. Think of it like a way that someone's appreciating your art so much that they want to make their own version of it and bring it to life. I think that's the best way to look at it. Try and ask artists first if you can use their species, if they've made one. If not, then make your own similar one that's not too closely designed to it. That way you got your own thing, and everyone's happy. Maybe if you wanted to, you could make it an open one. I really do think that's a good thing to do in the long run. And I honestly think that we should all try to work together when it comes to creating art. As a closed species, I really am going to just put it at this. I don't have any real arguments against people who use them, but I do think that there is some, well, reasons that people will end up using them regardless of if they're supposed to or not. But yeah. Now, as of that, I don't really have any quarrels with you having them or selling them or anything. I just do think that people get a little bit too hyped up about them. And I do think that it's a good idea to always stand back and appreciate things from a different angle. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you wish to, you can check out all the links below if you wish to support me in any meaningful ways. If not, you can subscribe and it helps my channel grow. Anyways guys, have a brilliant day, And I hope this has been a bit of a change of different style of content that helps you guys have just a bit different something to listen to and watch. And I hope you enjoyed the gameplay of me in the background. With that said, guys, see yous around.